Thank you, Mark. I want to thank Mark for his extraordinary, first of all, apologize again for my voice, and thank Mark for his extraordinary leadership. He's put together a waterkeeper movement up here in Canada that rivals anything we have in the United States. And here in Canada, you have 1/5 of the fresh water on Earth. It's probably the greatest single asset besides your human resources that you have in this country. And it's an asset that the whole world has its eyes on. And Canada really has to be careful over the coming decades about how it allocates this extraordinary resource. As Mark was saying, the best measure of how a democracy functions is how it distributes the goods of the land, the commons, the public trust assets, the things that belong to all of us. Does the government manage to keep those in the hands of the people and part of the Commonwealth so that rich or poor, young or old, humble or noble, black or white, every child in Toronto has an absolute right to go down to the lake, pull out a fish, bring it home and feed it to his family with the security that he's not going to poison somebody. And also with the idea that the fish are going to be there. This is an ancient right. It's called the public trust doctrine. It goes back to Roman times. It's in the Code of Justinian. It's in the Magna Carta. It is a basic fundament of democratic rights, that the commons belong to all the people. And one of the major functions of government, of a good government, is making sure that the things that we hold in common, the air, the water, the wildlife, the fisheries, the public lands, the shared resource of our society, aren't stolen from us and don't become consolidated in the hands of a corporate plutocracy, but are maintained in the hands. And today, you know, we're seeing a subversion. Wherever you see injury to the environment, you will also see a subversion of our democracy. And today in Canada, they're talking about what they were talking about 8 years ago in the United States, that we should get rid of all this public process, as you would say here. I said today, my son, who's 11 years old, he comes to Guelph he's going to spend all summer in Guelph playing hockey. And when I asked him the other day what he wants to be when he grows up, he didn't say a hockey player, he said Canadian. And I love this country, I love the people of this country, and for 8 years I've been coming up here and saying, don't fall into the trap that we fell into in the United States of America when we elected George Bush president, and then we went down this horrible, dreadful path. And Canada, over the past 8 years, has really made itself a proud nation, an exemplary nation, for its humanity, for its dignity, for its tolerance, for its openness to all different kinds of cultures, and for the humanity and kindness that it shows, for avoiding the seduction of the notion that we can advance ourselves as a people by leaving our poor brothers and sisters behind, or abandoning the rights that belong to us, that provide us local sovereignty, that provide us constitutional rights that have existed for thousands of years. And I would urge you not to let that happen now. This movement got started on the Hudson River back in the 1960s. It was started by a blue-collar coalition of commercial and recreational fishermen who mobilized to reclaim the Hudson from its polluters. We have on the Hudson the oldest commercial fishery in North America, and at one of the enclaves of the fishery was a town called Crotonville, New York. And the people there in March of 1966 got together in an American Legion Hall because they saw that the river was being, and these fisheries that their parents had exploited for generations, was being stolen from them by large corporate entities over whom they had no control. The government agencies that were supposed to protect Americans from pollution were in cahoots with the polluters. And they said the only way that we can reclaim this river for ourselves is if we confront the polluters directly. And they talked about blowing up pipes on the river, putting a match to the oil slick coming out of the Penn Central pipe, and then a guy stood up who was the outdoor editor of Sports Illustrated magazine, and he had found a law called the 1888 Rivers and Harbors Act that said that individuals could sue polluters and collect bounties, and it made it illegal to pollute any waterway of the United States. It had never been enforced in 80 years, and they were the first ones to enforce it. They've now brought hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lawsuits, forced polluters on the river to spend billions of dollars today. The Hudson River is the richest waterway in the North Atlantic. It produces more pounds of fish per acre more biomass per gallon than any other waterway in the Atlantic Ocean north of the equator. And the miraculous resurrection of the Hudson inspired the creation of 200 river keepers in Canada mainly and the United States. And all of them bent on restoring the river and also reinforcing and fortifying our democracy. And that's the battle that we're fighting. It's not just about protecting local waterways or local property values or local recreational resources. It's about protecting the most fundamental values that we have as a nation, as a people, as a free people, as a democratic people. So I want to leave you with those thoughts, and I want to urge you to go to our website and sign on to fish, swim, what is it, swim, fish, drinks? I think drink was the main one, the operative one. And music. And I want to introduce a band and thank the band, the Great Lakes Swimmers. It's just come off a 3-month tour that has been recognized all over North America as one of the greatest bands in North America, that has been a great supporter of our movement from the beginning. And I want to welcome them here tonight to play for you and thank all of you for your support and for your kindness and for the commitment that you made to this issue and to future generations. Thank you very much.